Hello everybody, I'm Mitch, an old guy in a drone, and today it was this drone. I went out to the flying field this morning. I had a number of things I wanted to do. I wanted to put a line of sight flight on my new acre brat that I just built. I wanted to test fly my Hawk 5, my Emax Hawk 5 FPV, which I hadn't really done yet, and I just wanted to have some fun and fly this little BetaFPV 85X. It's HD. It's got the Cat-X turtle camera in it, and I thought, well, in the middle of all this testing and everything, I would have a little fun, do a nice little flight, and shoot some very pretty high definition footage. Well, this is probably not the best flying quad in the bunch. I've seen a lot of reviews on it, and it flies okay, but if you try to do a lot of fancy maneuvers with it, it has a lot of prop wash and it falls out. And guess what? I'm flying this thing around and I'm doing rolls and loops and feeling really good, really proud of myself. And it just fell out of a roll and landed in the grass out there, and I could not find it. So I want to talk about some of the things that I did to help me finally locate this thing and some of the tricks that I tried to use. And the good news is, at the end of the day, I did find it, and it still had a little battery left after all that, so it didn't destroy the battery either. But that's what happened. So here's the final few seconds of the video, and from that I was able to figure that the thing probably went in somewhere in the circle there. Doesn't look like it'd be too hard to find. So I wandered around out there for about 15 minutes, up and down, back and forth. The grass was pretty tall, and I could not find this thing. I'm going to have to recreate a little bit about what I did at the field, since I didn't have the DVR recording. I was using it to use it for playback, and see if I couldn't see where the little quad went down. So I'm out here behind my house right now, and I've got the quad, and I'm going to show you a few things about what I tried first. Well, the first thing is the quad has turtle mode, and it did land upside down. So I put it in turtle mode, managed to flip it over, and you can see here that now the grass is upright, but I tried to take it off, and it wouldn't move. What had happened was a long string of grass had wrapped itself around the motor and stalled out one of the motors, and because of that I got a high current warning, and I disarmed the quad, so I couldn't fly it out. I also couldn't use the motors to try to hear where it was, and unfortunately the beeper on this little quad was not all that great. So I kept looking, and then it dawned on me, since I still had a video signal, that I could use maybe that video signal to help me home in on it, because the goggles do have a single strength meter. Now, my goggles have, I'll show you this here. Now, my goggles have two antennas like this. I have a circular polarized pagoda, and I have a patch antenna. And the patch antenna is directional, and it's a high gain antenna, so it gives you greater distance as long as you're pointing it at the quad. Now, this little display here is exactly the same unit that actually comes inside my Viper goggles. So what I'm going to show you here is exactly what I was able to do with the goggles out in the field. Now, the first thing I did was I used smart audio from my controller to lower the video transmit power to minimum. It was set at 200 milliwatts for flying, but I reduced it down to 25 milliwatts because I didn't want a strong signal. I wanted the weakest signal I could have. Now, after I did that, since this is a diversity receiver, I removed the pagoda antenna, which left me only with the patch antenna, which is directional. So I'm going to use the camera and show you what I'm seeing on the screen. And if you look up at the top, there's no signal now, but you can see in the bar up top, there's an A and a B. And that tells me the signal strength coming in on the two different antennas in this receiver. So let's take the quad and walk out here a little ways. And we'll plug it in, plug the battery in, and put it down here in the grass, kind of like it was sitting. Okay, so the quad's in the grass, and now we're going to go back here to my receiver and show you how the receiver works like a terrific direction finder. Okay, so there's the picture from the quad, and if you notice, oh, it focuses. If you can see that, it says that I've got 61%, and as if I turn away from the quad, that number goes down and the signal gets weaker. So as I turn towards the quad, it's 59, 60, 69, 64, 60. So I'll go back again to 60 where it's the highest, and I'll start walking in that direction. And when I walk a few steps, I'll stop and turn again to see where it's the highest. So it's the highest right about there. So we'll keep walking in that direction a little bit. Now it's at 83. And there it's at 99. So I must be getting closer. So if I turn away in these two directions, there's 99. And there's the little bugger right there in front of me. And it was down deep in the grass, and I think that I never would have found it if I hadn't have done it that way. So it's kind of an obvious trick, and I've seen other people do it, or have heard about other people doing it, but I'm here to tell you that it works great. And nice to know that worst comes to worst, if I have a quad without a beeper that goes down into some tall grass, I can get myself to within maybe 10 feet of it, 20 feet of it, and still be able to use this thing as a direction finder. So I hope this was informative. May have just been obvious, but when you're out there looking for your lost quad and you're worried about not ever finding it, sometimes you really don't think clearly, and you focus on just getting your quad back. So all is well that ends well, and if you learned something from this, that's great. If you already knew all about this, then I wish you had told me. Anyway, till the next time, have a great day. Go out and play with your drone. Take the rest of the day off. See you next time.